I wake up in a cold sweat after having the same nightmare that has plagued me for months. I entered Joann's Fabrics with a coupon for 50% off one item. I find the exact fabric I'm looking for, and only after having the overworked minimum wage employee cut me 8 yards of fabric, I realize it's on sale for 10% off. The thought makes me ill. I look at the clock, 4 a.m. I pull the $3 bottle of wine from the discount bin out from under the bed and use it to wash down 56 milligrams Adderall. I roll out of the bed only to realize that was the wrong pill bottle, and I just swallowed a lug nut. I curse the name of guard and crawl out of my goon cave. I go to the local dumpster and crawl inside. I find a motor, several motors. Unfortunately, the sun has since risen, and I am now trapped inside this dumpster due to my aversion to sunlight, with nothing but my unstable stream of consciousness and a lot of copper flat wire. And in that moment, I am struck by inspiration. And it looks like a torture device.
Get in my cage. Get in my cage.
Oh hey, didn't see you there.
I think it's time.
So you're probably wondering, am I suffering from some kind of manic episode or other personality disorder? Well, I'm going to answer a much more important question instead. Why would I turn this hoop skirt into a medieval torture device? Well, because I don't just need a hoop skirt. See, this cage is built to be interchangeable with another costume I'm making because they have a common problem. They both disagree with the concept of gravity. Usually, hoop skirts only work because these rings are incompressible, which my copper is. However, if you take a piece of that out, like say some kind of weird tail thing, or having your entire pussy out, it loses that incompressibility, hence this skeletal nightmare. But Miku, I hear you say, wouldn't it have been easier to just use something less ductile like steel? And yes, I did consider buying tree rings for this, but I have this giant freaking box of copper wire. I need to do something with it. So, now that I've justified myself, I used a bunch of black fabric and patterned it to the size of the contraption using cheaper fabric for the inside lining. As the current world record speedrunner of putting this shit together, I can say in my professional opinion that any explanation of exactly how this fits into the cage would be complicated and boring, and trust me, even if I could explain it succinctly, it would probably sound stupid and tedious because that's exactly what it is, and the front is looking a bit flaccid, so let's just go ahead and add a shaft there. Oh, and the wings are pretty simple actually, it's just hot glue and EVA foam bolted on. Okay, I think that about covers the dress cage and we can move on from this nightmare situation. For the undershirt, I modified a pattern to have the exposed armpits Mori, that's the game developer, not the, rapper, is famous for. Upon realizing my error, I found I needed to add 2 zippers just to get in, because much like RFK, my brain is so potent that parasites die from a nibble at it. Followed by the top of the bows. Honestly, adding these little snaps of the bows was probably the worst part of all of this because these bows are actually shit and love falling apart, and the fabric hooks aren't much better. Shoutouts to Doctor Who for maintaining my sanity and the brain chemistry that stops ants and roaches in their tracks. The jacket I spent the most time on, and I'm gonna give myself a bit more time to talk about it because it's probably one of the most complicated things I've made. I created the designs to scale with each other digitally and cut them out of HTV. I sized the applique white fabric based on that cut and sized the garment based on that. I added the applique and embroidered around the edge with a satin stitch, adding HTV on top. I had to do this in layers for different levels of applique, starting with the circle in the middle. This process is also how I made the sleeves and crosses on the dress.
What happened to the iron?
Don't worry about it.
Okay, now that the nerd shit is done, we can talk about this dumbass. I made his head from some kind of leftover black fleece and stuffed him with all my scrap that I refuse to throw out because I need to justify my hoarding habits. Boom, now he's an umbrella. Lastly, I wanted to make this set play bat, which has been ruining my life for years now. Build the set play bat, break your original piece of shit motor trying to solder it, buy a new motor, curse God while trying to stitch the goddamn head on. Grrr, why won't it? Okay, it's done, and only has a mild risk of bursting into flames.
It's a CO2 type.
So originally, I was going to wait until I took this costume to Frosty Fostings to finish this video. God, my eyeliner looks like shit, that's why I don't use pencil. I'm entering it in the contest, and I bought a spectator pass since I literally can't sit down to play video games in this thing. But then, this happened. So hello, Arc System Works social media person. I am very normal and can be trusted with your resources. So thank you for watching. I know it's been a while since the last video. The next video should be out though before the end of January. I have like 90% of it done already, because I was gonna release it before this one. So yeah, if you like this kind of video, like, subscribe. Why am I telling you all of this? You already know what's